Hello, everyone. In this week, we have two sets of slides I want to talk about. And I want to combine the weekly overview with the lecture. But I'm going to be brief on the discussion because most of the content is quite intuitive, and you can just look at the examples and the discussion on the slides. And if you ever have any questions, please feel free to email me. And if you need any clarification and if you need any other information, please feel free to let me know. So as you can see on Canvas, we have two sets of slides, 5.1, 5.2. So originally, actually, they were planned in about module 5, but I decided to move it later on to this week because we had something more important to talk about in module 5. So in the first set of slides, you can see there are many examples of data visualization, and we also talked about how to redesign some of the visualization to improve their efficacy. So there are also some bad examples in with many issues. So please look at those examples on the set of slides. And if you have any questions, please let me know. So these examples actually give you some ideas of how to avoid some common issues and to improve your design in real-world practices. So I'm not going to go through all these examples in detail, so I'll leave it for you to look at. So what I want to talk about is typography and how to use typography in data visualization. So I'm going to go through this set of slides with you, and that will be the focus for this lecture. So typography is the art and the technique of arranging type to make written language legible, readable, and appealing when displayed. So it's basically the designing and arranging letters and characters. So we all know how to use Word. So when you use Word to write a paper, you need to deal with typography by choosing appropriate font sizes and font types, and you need to choose line spacing, indentation, etc. All these actually fall into the category of typography. So why is typography important? Because it's almost everywhere. In addition to use typography in our writing, so you also see typography in every place, including those on your smartphone, computers, billboard, etc. So here's one example from Chipotle. If you take a look at the brown bags used by Chipotle, they have actually specific designs of typography on the brown bags to make it more appealing to customers. There are also several examples of typography used by big companies like Google, Facebook, Apple. They actually changed their typeface and trying to make it more engaging to their customers. So Steve Jobs had one well-known statement: if I had never dropped in on that single course in college, the Mac would have never had multiple typefaces or proportionally spaced fonts. So he believed the course on typography actually made the greatest impact in his career. So let's talk a little bit about the difference between typeface and the font. So these two words are commonly used interchangeably, but they have two different meanings. Typeface is used when describing what you see. It's an abstract way of describing the way a specific collection of letters or characters. And the font describes the physical embodiment or tangible representation of the collection of letters and characters. So if we think that the typeface is like a song, then the font is more like an MP3. So here are some examples of using Geraman typeface. They are all the same typeface, but each one of these is a different font. So what's the difference between serif versus sans serif? So let's look at the anatomy of a typeface. You see on the left-hand side, it's serif. On the right-hand side, it's sans serif. The difference is one has the feet, the other does not. So serif, you can see, is the typeface with feet. Sans serif has no feet. So these are two major classification, and you can see the different types of typefaces in serif category. And on the other hand, we have these four types belonging to sans serif. And these are the common font styles we can choose. We normally can use this, and we have used this, I think, in a Word document. So let's see the anatomy of a typeface. So here you see different terminologies in their meanings, like ascender, descender, and mean line, cap height, base line, X height. So they denote different types of parts of a typeface. So furthermore, you see the meanings of these different components like crossbar, terminal, etc. So these are the different, again, different meanings for character combo, ligature. So you see here on this report, the use of different types of typography to improve the beauty of the report. So difference between kerning and no kerning and custom kerning. Kerning is the space between letters. The tracking is the space between all letters. So on the left-hand side, there's no tracking. On the right-hand side, we have the customized tracking. And leading means actually the line spacing. So here is just a different word to describe line spacing. So do you think typography can actually convey emotion? So look at these different three examples and three more examples. And three more examples. So you see, and how about this one? So all these examples, they actually convey different emotions or some actually stories behind the use of these typefaces. So perception of fonts. So how do we perceive fonts in terms of traits and use and personalities? So some existing studies, they found that serif fonts actually imply the characteristics like stability, predictability, maturity. And sans serif does not imply any like meanings, either positive or negative. Script kind of a typeface is more feminine, and modern fonts will be used to indicate assertive or coarse indications. So the challenging font sometimes will make the task seem to require more time to achieve. So if it's not easy to read, if it's not a common font style, then it will indicate, it will give the audience the signal that it may be more difficult to read, to understand. So the easier the font was to read, the less complex intervention was perceived. So this will actually change the reader's perception that to signal it's easy to understand. So let's talk a little bit about the 10 commandments of typography, which are the guidelines for us to use typography appropriately to improve data visualization. So 10 rules for efficiently combining fonts. First one, choose complementary fonts. Secondly, establish a visual hierarchy. Number 3, consider context. Number 4, mix serif with sans serif. Number 5, create contrast. Number 6, stay away from font conflict. Number 7, avoid fonts that are too similar. Number 8, use fonts in the same family. Number 9, limit the number of fonts used. Number 10, practice. The first one, choose complementary fonts. So here you can see the example with complementary font styles. Art, Gardens, Stata, Organic, they actually work in a actually pretty harmonious way to engage the audience. Number 2, establish a visual hierarchy. So it's better to use different font sizes and the font types to clearly indicate the message, the most important message, and some of the detailed information to give the audience a quick way to grab the most important information. Number 3, context is important. So in different contexts, the different types of typography should be used to convey and to engage the audience. So serif should be mixed with sans serif to increase the beauty of the typography, like in this case. The Ashton and the carpentry and the joinery, you can see we have both serif and the sans serif categories of typefaces being used. And the contrast should be created sometimes to highlight the data that you want to make it jump out to the audience. So like in this example, so top level font, mid-level font, and also the color is being used consistently here. So again, that's the dashboard with the good use of contrast between two colors. Number 6, stay away from font conflict. So it's better to avoid the conflicting effect between some extreme types of fonts to achieve the harmony between different types of typefaces being used. So avoid fonts that are too similar. So if it's too similar, you cannot achieve the comparison and contrast. Number 8, use fonts in the same family. So it's better to use the fonts in the same family to make them consistent and to achieve this kind of a harmony across the entire category of like a serif, a sans serif type of typefaces. Number 9, it's better to limit the number of fonts being used. If you use too many, it may actually be counter-effective. Number 10, practice makes it perfect. So try to play around with different ways to improve the best performance of your design. So here are some examples of using these 10 principles to improve the efficacy of typography design. So word cloud should be used in caution. So it may be effective in delivering the most important keywords and message to the audience, but sometimes it should be used in caution. So here are 2 examples from Bush State, Obama State for comparison purposes. And here's one more from Lady Gaga. So on the left-hand side is single word phrases. On the right-hand side, it's actually multi-word phrases. So make sure you choose the good type of word cloud, depending on your actual situation and the way you want to deliver the message. So here is a good example of embedding the word cloud in the dashboard. So this adding actually is from, I have trouble playing this video, but it's actually from, from 911. Actually, it shows the most important keywords in the course of the tragedy of 9/11. So here is it's just a similar kind of a list of keywords that been used during this time period. So if you want to build word cloud, you can, there some commonly used online tools. You can also search Google to find some actually there are lots of online tools available. Okay, so that's a quick discussion of typography. So if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to let me know, and I'll be happy to help.